दोस्तों आप सभी को स्वागत है हमारे चैनल पे। आज हम पढ़ने जा रहे हैं मोनोसिस्टिस के लाइफ साइकिल के बारे में। फॉर द बिगिनिंग ऑफ मोनोसिस्टिस लाइफ साइकिल we have to start from the adult monocyst, which is also known as adult tropozoid. It contains of nucleus and it is of irregular shape like amoeba. It contains microtubules of pellicles. Here it is the adult tropozoid or adult monocystis. Then they become oval shape and converted into the gametocyst and get attached and form a pair, such as it is one tropozoid and it is another tropozoid. They are forming a pair. Then they form a outer covering of wall, which is known as the gametocyst wall, which is formed of two layers, ectocyst and endocyst. It is formed for the protection from the outside environment during the reproduction. And here inside there are the gametocytes. Then the nucleus of gametocyte undergo meiosis division to form large number of daughter nuclei. Here in this figure we can see this large number of daughter nuclei are formed from the meiosis division inside this gametocystis wall, and then the daughter nuclei is converted into the gametes, which are known as the gametes of the tropozoid. The gametes are the large gametes, which are known as macrogametes, or some are the small gametes, which are known as the microgametes. Then they form a pairing. Pairing is happening here for the fusion inside the gametocyst wall. Pairing is also happening. Then after the pairing of the gametes, they form zygote. From the pairing of gametes, they form zygote in this phase. Then the zygote convert into the spores. They are the sporoblast spores. Then again the sporoblast convert into the mature spore. They convert into the mature spores and they enter into the earthworm by the ingestion. Spores enter into the earthworm by the ingestion. In this figure it is the sporocyst, which is the outer wall of the spore, and the inside figures are the developing sporozoids. And after entering into the earthworm, the sporocyst burst and free sporozoid are roaming around the vesicles of earthworm, and then sporozoid enter the sperm morula. Sperm morula is the cluster of premature sperm present in the testes, and then sporozoid enter into the sperm morula. After entering sperm morula, they begins to feed on the sperms which are premature. They begins to feed and they grow in the size, and then it is also seen like a adult tropozoid, but outer this cilia type structure is not a cilia. Don't misunderstand it with cilia. It is only sperm tail which are remain after feeding in this stage, and then after some time the sperm tails are removed from the body and it becomes the adult tropozoid, and the cycle continues. After studying this cycle, we have to learn it through the written form. So we are going to learn it now. It is the written note on the reproduction of life cycle of monocyst. We are going to explain it, which we have explained earlier in the figure in the written form. At first, monocystis is a monogenetic, which means its life cycle is completed in single host. मीन्स वो एक ही होस्ट पे अपना पूरा लाइफ साइकिल कंप्लीट कर जाता है. Only zygotes are diploid. Diploid means 2n number of chromosomes. Diploid means 2n number of chromosomes in the cell, which is only a zygote is 2n, but all other stages like gametes, etc. are haploid, only n number. Asexual multiplication by schizogony is not occur in the monocyst. The life cycle proceeds as follows. Gametogony. First process is gametogony. This is the process of sexual reproduction which involves the pairing of gametes and fertilization. In the above figure, we have seen their formation of the gametes and pairing of gamete. This process is known as the gametogony. It takes place as follows. At first, syzygy. After a period of feeding, growing and wandering about, each trophozoite becomes an oval reproductive body, the gametes or gametocyte. The gametocyte becomes shortened and spherical and associated in pairs. Second stage, we have seen that they are associated in pairs. The two then secrete a common resistance and protective cyst wall, as we have seen it in third stage. Cyst wall is formed. The gametocyst or gametocyst around themselves. The cyst wall has two layers and an outer thick and the rigid ectocyst. The gametocyst is of two layers. Outer is the ectocyst and the inner is the endocyst. We have seen it in third stage in the above figure. Within the cyst wall, the gametocyst never fuse or conjugate. This type of pairing of the gametocyst is referred to the syzygy. After the process of the syzygy, the gametogony process is started. Within the gametocyst, each gametocyte undergoes nuclear multiplication by mitosis. Nuclear multiplication is done. The nucleus thus formed move to periphery and each gets surrounded by a small amount of cytoplasm. These uninuclear cytoplasmic bodies become free as gametes. They become free as gametes, leaving a certain amount of residual cytoplasm in the center of the gametocyst. We have seen in the previous figure when the gametes form, there is a residual of cytoplasm in the center of the gametocyst. The gametocyst thus formed are anisogametes and contain 4 chromosome haploid in number. The gametes from one gametocyst are of the same sex. All gametes from one gamete. There are 2 gametocytes at first phase, and from one gametocyst only one type of sex of gamete is formed, and from another gametocyst another same sex of gamete is formed, and then the process begins, which is known as syngamy. For the syngamy, the gametes mingle and the copulation of gametes is known as the syngamy. The gametes mingle within the gametocyst wall and fuse in pairs to produce diploid zygote. Only zygote is diploid, as we discussed earlier. It is presumed that the two gametes uniting in a pair come from different gametocysts. Different gametocysts form different gamete of opposite sex and they unite and form a zygote within a single gametocyst wall. And then the sporogony process is begun. In the sporogony process, spores are formed. Each zygote, which is first spherical, transforms itself into a unicellular oval body. Zygote is transferred into unicellular oval body called sporoblast. It secretes a thick cyst wall. Sporoblast also secrete a thick wall which is known as the sporocyst or zygocyst round itself and become a spore which is biconical in shape. As we discussed in the figure, the spore is biconical in shape. It possesses a mucoid plug at either end. The both ends of spore have mucoid plug. The spore now acquire a characteristic form of a boat or cone resembling a diatom of a genus Navicella. Navicella is also a species which is a boat-like. The spore become the boat-like and resembling same as Navicella. This stage is therefore frequently referred to as pseudo-navicella, false board stage. It is known as the false board stage. Within the sporocyst, in the sporocyst, the spore undergo three successive nuclear division. Inside the sporocyst wall, the spore undergo three successive nuclear division, producing 8 daughter nuclei. The first division being the reduction division. First division is the reduction, which is known as mitosis division. Each daughter nuclei gets surrounded within a cytoplasmic mass, resulting in the formation of 8 minute elongated and sickle-shaped sporozoid or zoids. After the reduction division, they form a sickle-shaped sporozoid or zoid, which are 8 number. These are bounded together within a sporocyst. These are inside the sporocyst. These are inside sporocyst. At this stage, in the sporogony stage, the original cyst wall ruptures. The outer cyst wall, which is formed during the process of the gametogony, is ruptures, and the spores are liberated into the cavity of seminal vesicle of orthome. Spores are liberated into the cavity of the seminal vesicles of orthome. Rupture of original cyst wall. Rupture of original cyst wall may be assisted by the swelling of residual cytoplasm. The cytoplasm, which are residual during the formation of the gametes, after swelling those residual, the rupture of cyst wall occurs. Those spores which are liberated within the seminal vesicle wait for their transmission to a new orthome host. In those species of monocysts which undergo reproduction and development in coelomic cavity, the spores are found in the posterior segment of the body. Spores are found in the posterior segment of a body, and the sporocyst wall is also burst, and after the bursting of the sporocyst wall, the spores are found in the seminal vesicles and they attack in the, and again the spore, after the bursting of the sporocyst wall, the spores enter into the sperm morula of orthome. Sperm morula, as we discussed earlier, is the cluster of the premature sperms, and then it start to feed on the sperm morula. After the feeding, it develops in size and grow well, and after growing, it becomes the adult trophozoid. This is the life cycle of the monocyst. It is very important for the examination point of view, and the drawing of this figure is mandatory for getting good mark in examination. So thank you, students.